Mic check. One. Mic check two. And three. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to this thing. We're going to talk about this little Dak Prescott news and his dog, right? We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about a little rule versus law. So there's a report out there that they might have to take the man's dog. And it's a sad occasion because we already know that animals can be, or pets, or one can say an extension of your family can be a crucial point in your psyche, right? We can talk about that. The reports are out there stating that they may get rid of Dak Prescott's dog. I think his name is Icon, and that will be a hard situation for Dak Prescott as well as for the dog itself, and those are the situation with that, and I hope that they can amend this and that they can stretch it out, and but it may be that the neighbor was attacked viciously, and they came up with the conclusion that the dog is unfit to be out there, and here it is on TMZ.com. It says Dak Prescott pit bull could be put down over neighbor's attack, and that report was yesterday. Dak Prescott pit bull possibly facing the death penalty after attacking neighbor in Frisco. In Frisco, Texas, those who are out there who are in that area, there's nowhere to to be messing around with out there. It's one of those things, guys, where we look at it and we look at animals and we look at pets and we look at the type of pets that you have out there. You can say to yourself, man, this was a harmless situation. This was a situation where the dog was just trying to defend or protect the owner. But there's rules and regulations for that. And this is sad, one, because I know how it is when I grew up. I grew up on 4.5 acres of land. So my dog was able to roam free when we get a chance to release him from the house, or if he's was in his kennel or dog pen. When he gets out, he'll run, and the joy that you see. I had a dog named Prince, man, and trust me, he didn't act like a prince. He acted like the king of the area there. And anybody coming in that area, he would protect it, man. And I would never forget, we had a big old snake just roaming out there, and Prince ran out there, and before I can catch him, he ran and got the snake and tore that snake up. Boy, it was a big snake too. It was a real big snake, and the snake bit him or what have you, and he ran off into the woods. And my uncle was saying that, like, look, hey, dogs got their natural way of curing themselves, and I was like, nah, we got to take this dog to the vet, but that snake died. He took the snake off with him. Undoubtedly, this snake wasn't poisonous, I guess. And dogs naturally protect their owners, And when you look at it from those parameters, you'll say to yourself, man, man, this is a sad situation, because we never know whether the lady probably was saying something, or she might have had the wrong perfume on, or it could just been jogging through the neighborhood and kind of ran up on him too quick, and the dog reacted, and now it could be his life, So it's crazy in a sense, but it's just how life is, though. But it's a sad situation, guys. It's one of those things where now law enforcement tells us that the case has been referred by the city of Frisco Municipal Court for hearings and determine if the dog will or should be classified as a danger dog. Sometimes in certain scenarios, they would actually just say that the dog is unfit to stay in Frisco, or the dog is unfit to stay in this particular part of the Texas, and they do have regions where a dog can go. I wish that would be the scenario. I don't know the full case or what have you, but Like they said, they're gonna try to work this thing out. Another option could be removing the dog from the city limits. Yeah, you see right here, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. If they just move the dog to another city or city limit outside of the city or what have you, and at least allow the dog to keep his life or what have you. But that's the news for Dak Prescott and his situation. Also, last night, what we were talking about, the David Irving deal. I know a lot of people heard about that. Yeah, you guys heard me about the talking about the David Irving. Let me just type in David Irving. You'll see it on the front page news. It'll probably be everywhere right about now. And it's one of those things where a lot of people got mad at me, and a lot of people were sending me hate mail about David Irving, and they was getting at me at this point right here, saying that, hey, Law, you're a hypocrite, these sorts of things. My thing is, my only objective ever would be to help. And if I can help the youth, if I can help young people out, then I'm going to voice my opinion. My thing is, if you partake in this particular plant, if you smoke weed, marijuana, however you want to call it, there's really nothing wrong with it. To be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely. You hear that from Law's voice. There's nothing wrong with partaking in a little cannabis, especially as it relates to helping you out if you have some type of cancer, or if you have mental issues or anxieties and things of that ilk. But my thing is, what I was trying to just push out there for everybody to understand would be this right here. My thing is, I was just trying to push out the fact that if you participate in those particular activities, then there's rules and regulations that are put in place before you partake in that particular job. And I'm talking about the NFL and the rule versus pretty much rule versus the law, what have you. The NFL has already had hard stance on rules against smoking marijuana. Now, if you want to smoke it, yes, that's cool. But you can't participate in this particular activity because these rules are implemented. Now, is it against the law? No, it's not against the law in certain states. And that's what I was trying to portray or put out there for everybody to understand. It's different between breaking the rule versus breaking the law. And what I'm saying is the opportunity that David Irving had and the opportunity that he was able to present before his family and his family and kids' family was greater if he was able to put aside that little small habit of smoking marijuana. Because in his video, he clearly stated that he is the sole custody of his child. Now, me working in a certain field, I can say this right here. Anybody, a judge, get a hold of that video and they can say, or even his baby mama, whatever it may be, they can present this information as evidence that he's an unfit father. Why? Because it's against the law. All you have to do is prove that he's an unfit parent. You can show that, hey, this guy judgment is clouded. Not saying that it's clouded because of the fact that he's smoking weed live on Instagram. No, because now you can put in other things to show that this guy's unfit to keep his daughter live smoking marijuana, turning down millions of dollars because he can't get off the weed. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, I'm advocating that people needs to be able to stand firm and do the things that they think that's right so that their employment can say, okay, you know what? I'm going to look at these particular laws and rules and be on your side. No. Yes, indeed. No. What it says right here, rule. It says one of a set of explicit or understood regulations or principles governing conduct within a particular activity or sphere. Meaning that what it's saying here is that these are understood regulations within principles that the NFL had already set up guidelines that said, okay, What we need to do is we do not allow players to smoke marijuana. Now, a lot of people saying, oh, Law, are you saying, is it marijuana versus alcohol? No, I'm not saying it. It's the NFL rule versus what they had already put into place. Now, is marijuana just as bad as alcohol? Hey, that's not the debate. The rule is already set in place. Those are the rules that the NFL, do I agree with every rule that the NFL got out there? No, I do not agree. We go back and forth about pass interference, holding calls. We talk all the time about false starts, snap infractions. We go back and forth between the rules that's confined within the NFL guidelines. We go back and forth each and every Sunday, right? Rules and regulation. That's what Toot Robinson is saying. Yes, appreciate you, man. Thank you all. But thank you. Swaggy D. Dank's going to be all right, man. My puppy died last week. It's an animal. We can get too emotional on them. Yes, we can. Swaggy D said marijuana is bad overall. Yeah, so that's what he's saying too. Boomer Sooner. Weed is legal here in Texas, but the NFL in their rules. Yeah, so let's look at the law. Now, the law states, according to this dictionary right here that we see on the screen right here, it says the system of rules which particularly country or community recognize as regulating the actions of its members, which it may enforce by imposition or imposition of penalties. So what they're saying is by this impositions of penalties is that when you violate the law, you're going to be enforced by impositions of penalties, meaning breaking the law. You're like, hey, once you break these laws, it's going to be a thing that you have to go through by penalty. Now, when I'm talking about the law versus rules, like, look, you can break the rules, but when you break the law, then there's penalties that's involved as it relates to legal aspects of it. Now, did David Irving break the quote unquote law? No, he's not breaking the law, rolling it up so tight that he can't open up his eyes. No, that's not breaking the law. You can do that. But now when you break the rules, then that company have the right to say, well, hey, we just don't want to hire you because you can't follow the guidelines. You can't follow the rules. That's all I'm saying is. Yes, indeed. So it's one of those things where we have to look at the collective sum. And then I know a lot of people saying, well, wait a minute. What about alcohol? You can't test alcohol 2 to 3 days after it's in your system. Alcohol goes in, it goes out. Sometimes marijuana goes in and it stays there unless you get some, incredible drug removable substance that help you out with that. But that's just all I wanted to be able to pull up, guys. I really appreciate each and every last one of you all for tuning in to the nation. I know. It's a sad situation with Dak Prescott's dog. It's a horrible situation with David Irving as it relates to his family and his daughter. He like he said, he's been homeless before and he had to go through all this. And why would you go through all this? And you know for sure you've been homeless before. And you don't want to put the family on your back. Man, that's crazy. But those convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. And I'm not out here to preach to you all about that. All I'm saying is that sometimes in life, you have to make sacrifices. Maybe 1 or 2 years. He could have played 3 or 4 years clean, get that big contract. And then after everything is all said and done, he could open up a dispensary. He could do a whole lot of things. Probably can do it now. I can't count that man's money. But collectively, if you look at the interview or whatever he was doing on his phone on Instagram, his whole disposition was saying, hey, I'm 6'8". I got tattoos all over his body. That's what he was saying. And he said he don't have a degree. And right now he don't know what he's going to do as far as his next move. But he said he's going to try out acting. Well, I can tell you this. Acting is a great, wonderful career. But you got to be really on it. You got to have a nice agent that can put you in front of certain movies. Now, he probably can be the next great actor out there. He can be the next Morgan Freeman, the Denzel Washingtons of the world. He may just have that ability. I'm not doubting the man. But chances are Chances are, I don't think that he got that type of situation. Calvin Morrison says, why is Garrett still employed? Oh, man, that's a story of a different day, man. That's a story of a different day. Jason Garrett, why is he still employed? It's a story of a different day. Shout out to Jason Garrett, though. Z Nation, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in to this thing. If it ain't...